r/AskReddit. What did that kid in your school get expelled for? Went to kindergarten with a kid named Marshall who was always getting in trouble until one day they finally just kicked him out of school for spraying a fire extinguisher all over the room and somehow getting his own human poop in no fewer than 9 cubby holes where we kept our lunches. You have to be a goddamn rockstar to get kicked out of kindergarten. I went to school with a kid named Marshall too. He was a new student and came in 4th grade. One day he refused to get on the school bus. He was just standing in front of the door to the bus holding his arms out so they couldn't put him on the bus. It took the principal, 2 teachers, and the bus driver to pry his hands off the bus. They took him kicking and screaming into the office and he never came back to school. I saw him years later. He grew up to be as strange as I'd imagined he would be. Okay, so we were in the middle of class that took place on the 5th floor of our school and there was this kid who in the middle of class stands up, goes to the window, proceeds to open it and jumps off. The entire class watched his terror and the teacher just stood there for a second in disbelief of what she had just witnessed. In reality the kid jumped on a ledge under the window as some sick prank to make us think he just suicided. He got expelled in the following week, and we had to list it to our counselor for a week about why stuff like this isn't funny and why suicide is bad. Edit. This was not the only reason he got expelled. This was just the final straw that forced the school to expel him. He was known for fooling around a lot and pranking the teachers all the time and doing dangerous stuff like starting fire in the middle of the class and similar. There was a kid in the school who was notorious for not showering. It was absolutely disgusting, but he didn't exactly have the best home life so no one was really gonna say anything. One day, the kid sitting behind him decided to light the no shower's greasy hair on fire. It went up like a fireball and the smell that ensued would make an onion cry. Needless to say, the kid with the lighter didn't make it through the rest of the day. Went to an all-guys Catholic high school. One of the teachers was trying to become a deacon or something and had to videotape himself hosting a service. He taught religion, so he used a class period to take his students to the chapel and record his service. He had to go back to the classroom for something, and one of the kids got up and began desecrating everything. Mock blowjobs of the candles, humping the crucifix, fake sermons, the whole 9 yards. The kid returns to his seat before the teacher ever gets back and all the students don't say anything. The camera was rolling the whole time. I'm not even joking. Stealing water. He threw a hammer at a student, narrowly missing another student, and lodging it in the wall. They'd been tossing plastic cutlery at him, and he'd had enough. Honestly, they were poking a sleeping bear because he'd made it clear from the day he arrived that he had some sort of mental condition that made him a compulsive liar, but in the terrifying way. Like he told me directly about how he murdered his own mother, a lady who regularly dropped him off at school so dull a lie, with a screwdriver. People at my school were very dumb, but he got expelled immediately. This is a weird one. Preface this by saying this kid was on borrowed time. He had a history of being a jackass, but was a really funny kid. So it's early junior year, and it's lunchtime. 2 people jokingly said to Kevin that they would pay him $60 to piss his pants. Money talks and he stood up from his seat, and within moments pissed his pants. They recorded the event and the video was passed around the school. Maybe a day or 2 later he was called down to the office, and was promptly expelled for whatever reason. The kicker here is that the 2 kids never paid up their money until the disciplinarian forced them to pay Kevin instead of detention. High school, senior year. He was the stereotypical computer geek / pocket protector kid. Very smart, generally quiet, was nice but awkward. He somehow found a way to access the part of the school's storage network where teachers could save their files. He made copies of thousands of quizzes, tests, answer keys, etc. Lots were from his US history teacher, but I was told he had stuff from most teachers. He sold copies of answer keys and exams to kids. Eventually someone told the school administrators. They contacted the police, and while he was at school one day they went to his house with a warrant and confiscated his computers. Arrested him when he came home. Teachers were pissed. Every compromised test had to be remade. Hundreds of hours of work for his history teacher, who had to remake all his lesson materials for the year over again. They threatened him with the possibility of being prosecuted as an adult, that each file was its own felony, and he was looking at 1,000s of charges. This was ultimately to just get a plea deal, which was something like a lot of community service, expulsion from that school, and probation. I think if he made it through probation it would all end up sealed or something. It was the last week of 8th grade. This kid named Damien threw a carton of milk at a dean. The dean yelled, "Damien, you are expelled." He ran off, and I never saw him again. This kid wanted to drop out of school, but his parents wouldn't let him. Told the principal that there was a gun in the bathroom, airsoft, and once he and principal and vice principal arrived at the bathroom and police were called, he told them that he brought the gun into school. There was a super senior at my high school. Each super indicates the extra year you stay at high school, so this dude was already in his 6th year of high school. I was a freshman when I met him. I was a junior at this time I'm referencing. He brings a shuriken during lunch. He demonstrates how he was learning how to throw one. He throws it at a wall and it just bounces off and lands at a different lunch table. Fortunately, no one was harmed. Unfortunately for that dude, the people at the table got very upset and yelled loud enough to get the school security guards' attentions. Yes, we had school security guards. The next week, I hear he got expelled. I would see him again as a super senior during my senior year. The worst part is, I don't remember seeing him during graduation. A kid in my high school brought an airsoft gun in his truck on the one day of the year that my school decided to perform a modified lockdown, which is really just a different way of saying we are searching your sh for drugs. So he gets called outside to unlock his car so that the police can further analyze this obviously fake, see-through plastic toy gun. And what do? Payday fellas, we got exactly what we were looking for. Poor kid got expelled. I will never forget sitting in chemistry with the windows open at the front of the school when he drove by in his truck screaming Duck High School's name. His adopted mom was a 7th grade teacher. Doesn't really mean anything, but just an interesting bit of information. He made an effort to get in shape. He joined the gym/workout/weight training class that just happened to have a lot of the football players in it. He was constantly bullied by a few. Even though the more respectable players stepped in at time, it wouldn't stop. After 2 swirlies in 2 days, he brought a knife to school. Cue the 3rd swirly, he pulls a knife and they stop. Expelled. Nothing happened to the bullies. So this guy didn't exactly get expelled, but I'm thinking this was close enough. I went to a very small regional high school in the middle of the woods, with a class size of 100 on average, so we had all the farmers/weirdos/do-nothings you could think of. Our class didn't have too much school spirit, so we didn't do an organized senior prank. Some of the agriculture kids decided to take it upon themselves to put one together regardless, and granted these guys can be pretty stupid/reckless. Anyway, a couple weeks before grad, my buddy walks into the bathroom first thing in the morning. He creaks open the stall door looking forward for a morning poop, only to find a 3 feet long snapping turtle staring back up at him. He takes a deep breath and starts to spread the news. People were surprised, but honestly not too surprised. These guys are insane like that. Turns out there was another turtle in another bathroom on the other side of school, both massive. Anyways, they get them out of there, and life goes on. Didn't hear much about it after, which I was disappointed about. Being such a small school, we all knew exactly who did it. Come grad, it just so happens the guy who did it was right next to me after we got our diplomas. Sitting there looking over mine, I look over, and Turtle Guy's diploma is, well, it wasn't a diploma. It was a picture of a snapping turtle with some turtle pun like not so snappy, or something along those lines. The VP switched it out on him and made him go in for a meeting right after to get his actual diploma. I'll never forget the look on his face when he opened that up. Pure gold. TLDR, kid puts snapping turtles in HS bathrooms as his own senior prank. Gets a picture of a snapping turtle in place of his diploma on graduation day, but still graduates. Senior guy propositioned a freshman girl and wouldn't let it go, allegedly also offering money in exchange for services about 2 weeks before graduation. He was already on super thin ice from similar creepy incidents throughout high school, including an incident where he explained a hypothetical plan to a teacher about putting GHB in smoothers and giving them to girls he liked. He was smart, but seemed just completely intent of wasting all of his potential, and being a piece of shit, just decided to run his name through the county courthouse database where we grew up, and I count 5 felonies along the lines of burglary and grand theft along with a bunch of unlawful/suspended license citations. This one kid had a broken zipper in his pants or something, so he was sticking his finger through it asking people to shake his hand. He asked a teacher, and he got sent to the dean and got expelled. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.